In the first videotape of this series on space, motion, and unity, we saw how all things in the universe are in a state of unceasing motion. Going a step further, the secret doctrine asserts that this motion is always manifest as ever-recurrent cycles. We may accept that cycles are in operation at sublime spiritual levels, as well as at the level of common physical experience. But it is necessary to extend our vision so we can perceive the interconnecting principles which must unite both levels. The wisdom taught by ancient sages affirms the view that ultimately there can be no distinction between the cosmic spiritual and the physical material realms. Both express the one reality, one mirroring the activity of the other. Thus, the Hermetic axiom says, "As it is above, so it is below. That which has been will return again. As in heaven, so on earth."
The second of the three fundamental propositions of the secret doctrine proclaims the absolute universality of that law of periodicity, of flux and reflux, ebb and flow, which physical science has observed and recorded in all departments of nature. An alternation such as that of day and night, life and death, sleeping and waking, is a fact so common, so perfectly universal and without exception, that it is easy to comprehend that in it we see one of the absolutely fundamental laws of the universe. It is further taught that this cyclic law is the expression in the cosmos of eternal motion. During the aeons of life, motion assumes an ever-growing tendency, from the first awakening of cosmos to circular movement.
Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a large, flattened spiral with multiple arms. One arm of the Milky Way rotates about its center every 200 million years.
All movements throughout boundless space are cyclical in character, whether they last for an infinitesimal fraction of a second or as long as the cosmic Manvantara itself. Everything is cyclic. The life of a firefly is as cyclic as is the life of a human being or the periodic revolution of a planet around the sun.
We can define a cycle as a pattern of events that occur in a fixed order, and the order itself is repeated. Renewal and rebirth are inherent in this definition. Periodicity refers simply to the regular completion of a series of events. A period is the time interval required for a cycle to complete itself before it begins to repeat. This period may vary from infinitesimal fractions of a second for the birth and decay of a subatomic particle through the 25,827 years it takes for the celestial background of stars to turn their full circle in the heavens, which is known as the precession of the equinoxes.
In naturally occurring events, we more often refer simply to rhythm. A rhythm is a regularly recurring pattern of events in time. Rhythm evokes a sense of the vibrant, organic nature of all things. Rhythms are most obvious in music. Each beat in the rhythm marks off one cycle, but the beats have to be evenly spaced if the rhythm is to be detectable.
The rhythm of breathing is the most easily recognizable rhythm in the body. We breathe air into our lungs at an average rate of 16 breaths per minute, depending on the body's oxygen demands. All of our physiological processes are closely connected to breathing, so that it is a primary sustainer of life in the human organism. In this rhythmic activity, we are participating in the divine activity of the cosmos. The rhythm of our breathing is a minor harmony in the orchestration of the cosmic breath, keeping us alive in every sense of the word by a constant interchange with the whole.
Taking into consideration the larger cycles of man, we can think of birth and death, outgoing and return, as one breath of the self, which will surely be followed by another and another. In fact, plants, animals, atoms, stars, and star systems have their own continual internal motions, which can be seen in terms of such rhythmic breathings. All have their individual cycles of life, but eventually all are unified in the one breath.
In the secret doctrine, divine breath is equivalent to universal abstract motion. Eastern cosmologies tell us that the in-out rhythmic cycle of breathing is a direct analogy to the creation and destruction of an endless cycle of universes.
We read in Isis Unveiled that an outbreathing of the unknown essence produces the world, and an inhalation causes it to disappear. This process has been going on from all eternity, and our present universe is but one of an infinite series which had no beginning and will have no end. The doctrine of cycles is one of the most important in the entire cosmic range of the esoteric philosophy, because repetitive or rhythmic action is fundamental in nature. As a matter of fact, every being and thing that exists is an expression of rhythmic pulsation. We are not only the children of cycles greater than ourselves, but actually within our own beings embody cycles because we are cyclical in all our life processes.
Our circulation is maintained by the heart, which contracts about once every second and keeps up its pumping incessantly for the whole of a person's lifetime. Each beat is timed by the heart's own pacemaker. The heart exhibits the most single-mindedly rhythmic behavior in the human body. It will contract ceaselessly, without pauses for maintenance or repair, for 70 years or more, which adds up to 1/4 billion pulsations in a lifetime. Another prominent rhythm is our cycle of waking and sleeping. Within the period of sleep itself, humans have been found to undergo cycles characterized by changes in temperature, movement, brain rhythms, heart rate, and breathing. These 90-minute cycles are associated with alternations between light sleep and deep dreaming sleep.
Invisible rhythms underlie most of what we assume to be constant in ourselves and the world around us. Life is in continual flux, and the change is not chaotic. In fact, cyclic processes are recognized by biologists as being essential to life itself. Protoplasm is the basic stuff of life, forming the substance of all cells, and, even isolated from the cell, protoplasm has the remarkable ability to structure time into regular periods, as we see in this rhythmically alternating flow within the primitive slime mold.
The growth of an organism is made possible by a repeated process of cell division called mitosis. This cell cycle consists of the expansion of the cell, followed by a doubling of the chromosomes. The whole cell then splits into two, and each daughter cell is an exact copy of its parent. For growth to take place at all, living organisms need a continual supply of energy and raw materials, which must come from the environment in which they are living.
The process of exchange takes place, according to biologists, within an ecosystem. The ecosystem is the system of animals, plants, rocks, minerals, human beings in a certain area, and the interdependence and interrelatedness of these systems. The interdependence is characterized by cycles of transfer of energy and elements, like minerals and chemical elements, through the ecosystem. They would be taken up from the ground by plants. The plants would be eaten by animals, which then die and bring them back to the ground. There are also cycles like that of water and the carbon and nitrogen cycles. So the ecosystem and various other cycles and the cycle of life and death and their dynamic balance all reveal the fundamental interconnectedness of these entities. Our harmony with earth rhythms and the grander cosmos beyond is not merely a matter of philosophy.
At the physical level, we know that we are affected by three fundamental cycles in nature: the daily rhythm, the 28-day lunar cycle, and the yearly cycle. The 24-hour daily rhythm is conveniently broken into the two more or less equal periods of day and night, which are characterized most strongly by the presence or absence of light. Biological cycles, which repeat approximately every 24 hours, are called circadian and are the most common rhythms found in living organisms. Tiny organs in the brain, the pineal gland, the pituitary body, and the hypothalamus, have been described as the master clocks of the body. They produce hormones which control the rates of all kinds of chemical reactions, resulting in daily variations in many bodily functions. A second basic rhythm that man and other organisms respond to is the yearly cycle, caused by the Earth's revolution around the sun. The 4 seasons in each year influence plant and animal life in a vast number of ways.
We are familiar with the cycle of growth from seed to flower and flower to seed. The cycle of change from the bare branches of winter to the glossy bud, the green gold foam of spring, and then the full leaf of summer, and the brown gold rustling of the autumn leaves. We watch the bird and the nest, the egg and the fledgling.
Another fundamental rhythm in life is that determined by the moon's orbit around the Earth every 28 days. The gravitational pull of the moon on the Earth causes the rhythmic ocean tides. In fact, man is also affected. For example, the menstrual cycle in females is known to be related to this lunar cycle. The moon also has a vast effect on the Earth's magnetic field. It has been found to affect the frequency of rainfall and thunderstorms on Earth, which occur in cyclic patterns.
According to the secret doctrine, the sun functions much as a heart, regulating the circulation of the vital fluid throughout our system. This fluid is the energy we see coming from the sun in the form of heat and light and other forms of radiation, and on which all life processes on Earth ultimately depend. Energy flows in a cyclical manner, and this can be seen in the 11-year cycle of sunspots.
It has been known for some time that the number of sunspots visible on the surface of the sun varies in a cycle which averages 11 years. Sunspots are areas of relatively cooler temperature on the sun's surface, which appear dark to us on Earth. The strong magnetic field associated with sunspots suggests that they are the visible effect of magnetic changes deep inside the sun. Back in 1875, this cycle was already suspected to have some relation to magnetic storms and rainfall. This is now validated by climatologists. The fiery display of the aurora borealis is caused by this sunspot activity.
Everything that
Simply because man is an intrinsic part of the whole cosmic order, he must partake in similar cycles of existence as the rest of nature. These cycles necessitate that at some time physical existence must come to an end, and the immortal principles in man withdraw for a period before once again becoming clothed in dense matter.
everything that happens, whether in the great or in the small, whether in the visible or invisible, is cyclical in character. Hence it is that death and birth for human beings are equally cyclical or periodical. We human beings are no exception to nature's cosmic modes and functions. Thus, the secret doctrine states, the cycles of matter will be succeeded by cycles of spirituality and a fully developed mind. Humanity is the child of cyclic destiny, and not one of its units can escape its unconscious mission or get rid of the burden of its cooperative work with nature. Thus will mankind, race after race, perform its appointed cycle pilgrimage.
According to the secret doctrine, man must undergo the cycle of necessity, whereby he evolves through a countless series of rebirths or reincarnations in order to reach a preordained level of self-conscious perfection.
This cycle is outlined in the secret doctrine as the obligatory pilgrimage for every soul through the cycle of incarnation in accordance with cyclic and karmic law.
From the second proposition, the absolute universality of the law of periodicity, we derive our conviction that reincarnation is one manifestation of this cyclic law. For every experiencing being, life reveals itself as an endless series of new beginnings.